architecture?
Yeah.
How the hell did I used to do this?
Build something cool and then talk crap for half an hour.
Welcome back, guys, for more Space Engineers. Yes, it's been a long 8 months, but I am back. I've not been well. No, I've not been well. I know some of you are saying, you were never well, mate. Good point. Right. What are we going to do in this episode? Well, we're going to be doing a bit of shipbuilding. In the last episode, we completed the hydrogen processing chain. So we're digging up ice and we're piping it into the base where we're converting it into hydrogen, ready to be shipped up to the asteroid base. Awesome. Only one problem. We don't have a ship capable of taking large amounts of hydrogen up into space. So that is what we're going to be doing. Right, let's get started. I've switched over to creative mode because I'm going to be creating a series of blueprints. A series of blueprints? I thought you were building one ship. Actually, this is going to turn into... I've got ideas for about a dozen ships, which are going to be built off this idea. You'll get the gist. But let me kind of throw some stuff in. What do I want? I want a corridor to start off with. Let's just run that corridor off down there like that. That'll do. Cool. Okay. So I'm going to create a bunch of modules that I'm going to use to build the ships. And then the module's going to be kind of interchangeable, and it's all going to be plug and play, and hopefully very, very cool. The overall design of the ship is going to be kind of driven by these big tanks. So let's flip you around. Let's get a couple of these popped on here. So one there, flip it around, boop, there we go. And then like that on its own is pretty big, but I want this to be much, much bigger. So let's flip you around and pop you on there. And then flip you around again. Boom, boom. And that goes on there. Right. So that is going to be the length of that module. Separate to that is going to be a thruster module. I want the corridor again. So there's going to be a corridor there. Right. I want to go to my regular blocks. So we're going to have blocks coming out. Now I want this to be like 5 blocks long. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, that looks good. And then that's going to come out like that. Cool. Now, this is going to be powered purely by hydrogen. So it's only going to have hydrogen thrusters on it. And one of the things about hydrogen thrusters is doing all the conveying can be quite complicated. Well, I'm going to try and keep this very, very simple. And the first thing I'm going to want is a structural block. This one, I think. Let's flip that around. Yeah, it's the straight through structural. So it's going to be one of those there, and one of those there, and one of those there. Okay, that's cool. And then I want to go back to the regular conveyor with like exits on all sides. I want one of those there and one of those there. Awesome sauce. And then I can get rid of that block and get rid of that block. Okay, so we have block, block, and block. And then we'll have the same on this side. All right, cool. Now, the design considerations for this is I wanted it, because they're going to be cargo haulers, I wanted these to have a nice industrial feel. So I want like exposed bits and exposed pipework and stuff like that. But at the same time, because this is going to be flying backwards and forwards through the atmosphere, I want it to be also streamlined, or at least semi-streamlined. Right, let's throw some engines on this, shall we? I think we should. So we're going to go for these little thrusters, and they're kind of awesome. There's one there. Now I want these to be omnidirectional because when we go up into space, obviously you need to be able to move in every direction. So you need thrust in every direction. So there and there. Cool. So that gives us up, down, left and right. And then we'll have a bow module and kind of an aft module that have the forward and rear thrusters on it. Right, now we need a bit of streamlining, I think. I think this will work kind of nicely to streamline the thing. And the same along the bottom, like that. And then down here, I'm thinking that we could have hydrogen engines hidden away in here. The hydrogen engine looks so cool that I think it would be nice to kind of make this a bit of a feature. Let's see. I'm thinking there. That looks pretty good. And it leaves us access to these two open conveyor ports. Right, what am I going to use these two holes for? Well, they're going to be for batteries. Where are my batteries? There's my batteries. And now I do want them oriented slightly different. Yeah, like that. Right, and then this one, let's flip it around the other way, like that. Okay, let's get rid of that so we can see. Yeah, looking good. Looking good. I like how that looks. There's a bunch of other things that I could put in here. I mean, we've actually got room there to put in like a small refinery, for example. But I think in terms of standard equipment for the module, I'm going to leave it at that. So now what we need to do is seal this up and finish off the bodywork. So we'll just seal up this top part with some regular blocks. And then we're going to switch to the half-height blocks. Flip you over, and that's going to run down the center. Now, this is going to be running down the center of this whole thing, but I'm just going to do the thrust module for now because I haven't got the support stuff for the rest of it. So one thing at a time, Sky, one thing at a time. And then finish it off with some of these nice sloped pieces. Lovely. So yeah, now we're getting a nice aerodynamic shape to it. Okay. Now I need to do the same on the bottom, just like that. All right, cool. Oh wow. I think we might be pretty much done with that. Right, let's do the same on this one. Make this one look pretty. And there it is, all done. Okay, cool. I've also filled in those blocks along the top, and I've moved the sprue. It's such a good word. I've moved the sprue from the other end to this end so that I could split these so that I can blueprint them separately. All right, very cool. Okay, we have two more modules that we need to do, but I've just realized, actually, just flying around, that there's a couple of holes that we need to fill. What do I want? I want a block there. And if we come around to this end, I've got to put blocks there. So we bang that corridor piece in there. And that is essentially done. What I do want to do is turn that off. And then I want to just have a little fly through this and see how it looks. And the answer is, I think it looks all right. Now, obviously, you wouldn't have this gap here. So then you've just got this long corridor to whatever the next section is, which could be another thruster, it could be an aft section, could be a bow section, who knows? Who knows what it could be? Well, you do, Sky, because you're building it. Yes, that's a good point. Before we go any further, I think it might be worth figuring out if one of these thruster units can actually support the weight of this. Now, I'm fairly sure that it can, because the thing about these hydrogen tanks is that fuel doesn't weigh anything, right? Now, you may think that's stupid. It's got to, right? Surely a ship doesn't weigh the same if it's full of fuel as if it's not full of fuel. The answer is yes. It absolutely does. I need to get... Oh, there we go. Boom. Attached. Oh, and the engines roar to life because they're now being supplied with fuel. That's a very good thing. Because I want to see if like one of these thruster units is enough for two of these. I think, like based on my rough calculations, I think it should work. I've just got to get far enough away from this. It turned green for a minute. There we go. And that looks good. Okay, cool. All right. So now we need to see, will this fly? So a couple of things we need to do in order to check that out. The first thing I'm going to do is grab some hydrogen thrusters, not the great big ones, little ones. There we go. So a couple of those on there, and then we'll put a couple on the other end just to give us forward and backward thrust. So boom. Throw in a cockpit. Where are my gyroscopes? I think, yes, here they are. So throw in a couple of gyroscopes. Okay, that should be everything that we need for flight. he said very, very optimistically. Okay, let's get rid of these bits. Okay, and then now we find out if it's going to fall to the ground and blow up. Oh, it's not. So it will support its own weight. I wonder how well this thing might actually fly. Let's jump into the old cockpit. There's still one thing we've got to do, and that is we need to go to info, and we need to convert this to a ship. Okay, right. Let's see. Will you turn? Oh, you will turn. Oh, and you'll turn quite nicely as well. Okay. Will you lift up? Oh, you will lift up. You'll lift, and you'll turn quite reasonably. Right. Let's see if we can get some forward motion. Now we're going to have obviously an aft section which will have bigger engines than this, or more thrust than this. Let's put it that way. Actually, it's going to be bigger engines. I already know. Yeah, this is okay. You know what? One thing that I think is kind of a good indicator of how well something flies is if it'll barrel roll. So let's try. Will you barrel roll? And the answer is, and of course, because it's omnidirectional, like it's quite happy upside down, which is really nice. Oh God, I've missed this. All right, cool. And it's going to take a little bit of a while to slow down, but let's point it down. Let's have a little gravity assist to get us moving forward and fly back towards the base. Awesome. Oh, hello. No, don't bottom out. Oh. Okay, I just ripped the bottom out of this thing. But that's okay, because I don't want this anyway. Right, let's do a bow section. Now, you'll notice that I said a bow section, using the indefinite article, as opposed to the definite article, the. And you can isn't it great? You can thank Monty Python for me knowing the difference between the definite and indefinite article. Right, so yeah, we're going to do a bow section because there are going to be multiple bow sections of different types. And before the end of the video, I'll do some different variants on the thruster section and the cargo sections. So yeah, you've got a lot to look forward to. Right, get on with it, Sky. Yes, okay. Let's try 10 and see how that works out. I'm not quite sure how long I want this. It's why I've added another cargo section here, because I want to kind of see the proportions. That seems maybe a little big. Let's assume we're going with that. I may bring it down a little bit. I may bring it down to like 8. And let's have it like that. So let's have conveyors going up the sides like... Yeah. Well, they're going to have to go up there like that, aren't they? Yeah, they are. Why are they going to have to go up there like that, Sky? I'm glad you asked. And it's because at the front, we're going to have engines. So, yeah, we're going to need those. So, yeah, it would be like that. And then this one would have to be flipped around like that. And then we want just a single one in the center like that. Yeah, so we want engines across the front. Right, so we've got reverse thrust from there, which is good news. All right, so let's run that back like that. Yeah, you see, I don't think these two bits are going to blend into that well. So I think I'm going to have to change that frontal design a little bit. You know what? Let me chop a couple of blocks off the back and I'll redo this front bit. Okay, well, it's a little bit better, but I'm still not happy with it. But I've just realized something. These hydrogen thrusters should actually be set back into the housing. Let me do that, because I think that's going to make a huge difference. Oh, yeah. Oh, hell yeah. Isn't it amazing? You just do like a couple of little tweaks and things just look, wow, they go from looking to looking, wow. Picture how wow is that? That's pretty blooming wow, isn't it? Isn't that sharp? Isn't that sharp looking? Yeah. That's really freaking wow. Oh, I could wow that all day long. All right, cool. Now, you may be sitting there. I'm sure somebody's sitting there. this guy, you lemon, you've forgotten to put in a cockpit. I haven't forgotten to put in a cockpit because this doesn't have a cockpit. What do you mean it doesn't have a cockpit? It doesn't have a cockpit because this is the bow module for a side pod. Now, did you think that I was just building a brick? No, I said brick. No, I'm not just building a brick. This is intended to be a side pod. Now, am I going to do a bow module, which would be like a full-on cockpit for a bit of a brick? Then I think definitely yes. Especially now I've seen the front of this. I'm thinking, yeah, maybe extend it up one level and replace these with some windows and actually have like a proper flight deck in there. Could be very, very cool. The more I talk about it, the more I'm liking it. The more I'm tempted to just do one next to this. But no, we'll leave that as is because I want to get on to doing an aft section. But yeah, so this would be a side pod, right? And what I will do is that I'm going to do a thrust module variant, which actually has a connection piece coming out here, like extending out here. And then you'd have a side pod there and another side pod over here, right? And then these, so the connection coming out there will join up with the connection of the one on this side, and then have a centerpiece, which is going to be the actual like flight deck and a bunch of other stuff, right? And it's going to be like, this was kind of my original inspiration, was to do like a Y-wing fighter or Y-wing bomber kind of style of thing. But like the more I look at this design, the more I'm thinking, God, there are so many variants you could do. So okay, have two of those and do the Y-wing kind of thing, or you could have three of these with the center one having like a proper cockpit and flight deck on the center one. Like what else could you do? I mean, there's the big boy is going to be 4 of these side pods. So you're going to have one side pod there, and then one side pod there, and then 2 more like higher up, and then you can have like a kind of an X thing in the middle to connect them together, right? And also I'm thinking it may be, instead of being 2 of these cargo sections, maybe it's 3 of these cargo sections. So you've got another thrust module there. So you've got 2 thrust modules, and the thrust modules connect in like 2 X's, and then right in the center you have like the actual ship itself. There's so many variants that you can do to this. I'm blooming loving this. Right, shut up, Sky. Build the aft section. Right, let me get right on that. Okay, aft section. This section here is exactly the same as this section here. But that is, I think, where the similarities are going to end. I think what we want is for this to maybe flare out 1 tile. That's what I'm thinking right now. So let's put in a conduit, this one that turns that way to bring the conduit out, and then we want to do that to turn it that way. So the conveyor is now coming along here. I got to say, the conveyoring is always the trickiest thing. What do I want? So I want to bring it back in there, and then there. Okay. And then bring it out 1. Okay, let's flare this, shall we? What do I want? That goes around there. So we want to bring this out 1, and then we're going to use. Do I want to bring it out like a full tile? I think I probably do want to bring it out a full tile. Well, I want that one. Flip you around like that. So if we come out a full tile, yeah. We'll see what it looks like, because it may only want to come out half a tile, but like until you do it, it's like, how can you possibly know? Okay. Ooh. I gotta say, I kind of like the initial look of that. I think at this point we need to throw some engines on this, so that we can get kind of real scale. So let's go to hydrogen and thrusters is that one. Okay. Flip those around. But we want the big boys. Is that in the right place? That I think is the right. Yes, that's the right place for them. Woo! Those puppies are pretty damn big. So we want to bring that across there. I have also looked at this and thought, you know what? You could potentially do an upper deck and a lower deck. Because what I'm going to do on the top here, yeah, let me show you this. What I'm thinking, we go to the half block, flip that over. So I'm thinking this is 3 wide on the top here, like this. That covers that up, which means that you could have a nice 3 wide upper deck. Oh, I've put in the wrong tile, but never mind. Yeah, you could have a nice 3 wide upper deck. So you could have, like, I don't know, stairs on either side, like going up to an upper deck, and then have stairs going down to a lower deck. I think I'm probably going to accommodate that. Yeah, I'm going to, because I think it might be quite cool. Let's flip that up like that. Put that part in. Cool. Right, I mean, at this point, it's just a case of filling in the rest of the bodywork. So let me get on that. Well, I don't know about you, but I'm going to say that's turned out really nice. I do love I do love a large flaring rear. Oh, good Lord, and who doesn't? Oh, yeah. I freaking love the shapes on this thing. And I think it goes really nice with this. But I think we can make this even better. All right, cool. Now, you'll notice over here, we have another front end. And that's because the more I thought about it, the more I'm thinking, maybe I'm going to do that cockpit design in here. So I thought I'd copy that and maybe have a little play around with it. Let me have a play, see if there's anything that I can do with this. Okay, well, I might just have the beginnings of an idea here. When I first put these windows on, I was thinking, this is not going to work. But actually, I'm starting to kind of like this. So how would we take it on from here? I'm thinking we'd want to bring this out to kind of there. And then we'd want, we want half blocks coming out there. And then this one's going to slope down to the front. And then I want to put a couple of corner pieces on there. Okay, that could work. Now, where it gets interesting is, obviously, this is a couple of levels higher than this corridor. So we're going to have to do something about that. And what I was thinking, if we get rid of that tile, and then, now, where are my stairs? That's a good question. Oh, there they are. Okay, so if we throw some stairs in like that. Okay, so we have stairs coming down. Right, that gets us to that level. Okay, cool. So we'd have to add another tile onto this. But that could actually work. The thing is, I think we're going to need another... I think this is going to have to come out like 2 tiles. Because we need to go up there. But we're also going to have to bring the corridor round to each side so that you can get into this forward area. Yeah, we're going to have to do that, I think. Okay, well, I'm done. Ish. Kind of, sort of. I think this is going to have more styling. For example, like, I think I need an extra tile coming out here, just flat, before this nose dips. But for now, that'll do. Right, let me show you around. Oh, I have got some surprises for you. I think you might like this. Right, let's go and have a little look inside. So this is the bow section, flight deck and the forward avionics bay. I've changed the corridors to this design because I really like these handrails, and also they've got two variants. One is the lighting unit, and I got to say, I kind of like this. Kind of like this a lot. We'll look more at that in a second. Let's go in here. So there's the lighting variant. So this is a normal section, and then we've got these lighting sections, which light it up quite nicely. And then we've got a battery in here, and then behind here we've got a couple of gyroscopes, so that we can actually turn the ship. That's nice. And then if we go around here, actually let's turn off the old jetpack. We'll walk up the stairs to the flight deck, where we've got our main pilot chair, and we've got room for like, I don't know, an engineer and a co-pilot or something, maybe a stewardess. Who knows? Who knows? Then go back downstairs, turn the jet back on. I've got one little surprise to show you. I think you'll like this. Oh, I started to do a little bit of greebling on this, just to make it a little bit more interesting. I think most of these modules need a little bit more styling, but we'll come to that in a second. So we have a docking port on the front, and we've also got a little cab. So if I jump in here and press 1 and then jump out, oh yes, the docking port extends, because these engines will damage anything that's directly in front of it, and often the docking ports have stuff around them. So this enables us to extend this and not damage anything when we dock, which is awesome. And I showed this to Picture Perfect earlier, didn't I?
You did, yeah.
I did. And what did you say?
I said it's quite a long one.
Yes, well, I wasn't going to put a short one on. Got to have a long one. God, bad. Right. So that's that. Let's pop on down to the tail section, because I've done some work on the tail section. So you can see that I've added some additional thrusters to this section, and added an antenna on the top. Now, one problem we've got with this ship, if you stuck all of these bits together, there's no way to get in, right? So if we come around the back, there is actually a way in. There is an airlock at the back. We open that up, and so you go in and then shut the door behind you, and then open this, and you're into the engine room. Now, the engine room I haven't finished off, because this kind of depends on how you're going to be using the ship. But there's plenty of room to put stuff in here. I've got a couple of batteries in here. Well, I mean, we could put life support. I mean, all kinds of things. We can have an upper deck. We've got the stairs up here, so we can have an upper deck going on up here. Awesome. Right. So let's have a look down these corridors, because I tell you what, these corridors are pretty long. So you zip along here. This is the thruster module. More batteries and stuff, and then along the cargo section, and we're back to the entrance. Now, I've done a few variants. So this is a cargo variant. So this one's hydrogen, and all I've done is just replace these with cargo pods. Used a couple of different versions to make it kind of interesting. I've got to say that's pretty tasty. Pretty tasty. Now, there's going to be a huge difference in weight between the hydrogen ones, because the hydrogen fuel doesn't weigh anything, and these cargo pods, because if you load these up, depending on what you put in there, these can be very, very heavy indeed. So I've got a half module over here, and then depending on how much thrust you need, you add as many thrust units as you need. Now, you may want a slightly smaller ship, which has a bit more thrust. So over here's a variant with additional thrusters. So instead of having the gap in the middle, I've thrown a thruster in the middle. So, and we could have additional modules, variants of this module that have like either 4 or 5 or like as many as you want. Or you can just add additional modules. Or you could have smaller modules. You can have one that's only got like 2 engines. So the modular design allows you to do kind of anything you want to do. What else? Okay, so this is the original kind of tail section. I copied that over here and then did some modifications on this, and then I did a little bit of greebling on the side, just to kind of make it interesting. And then up here, I like this. I was thinking it's a very long walk from the end of the ship all the way up to here every time you want to get inside. So we've got an airlock module. Now, the problem with creating this is the conveyoring, because the conveyoring runs all the way down the side of the ship, right? Unbroken. So, well, how do you have an airlock that kind of goes through that? Well, the answer is over here. Because what we do is we route the conveyoring down into this block and then along underneath the airlock. So we've got an airlock over here. Boom. And boom. And that gets us into the main ship. And there's another airlock on the other side. Oh, yeah. You get 2 for the price of 1. But it's not. We charge you extra. Trust me. Okay. Let's close that up. All right, cool. So you can now see that you can kind of mix and match this however you want. Oh, I want to close this because it's so cool. It's so cool when it just tucks away. Let's close that. Jump out. Oh, like moving parts on ships. Does it get any better than that? It's so tidy. And boom. I love that. Okay, so there are a bunch of other modules that I need to design. I need a connector module, which will be like a module kind of like this, but it will have like a connector sticking out here, like a bunch of blocks, to allow it to connect to another module so that we can have like Y-wing designs and X-wing designs and like all kinds of stuff. I would love to do a passenger variant. So like to take a section like this and then probably I'm thinking to make it like slightly wide, like an extra tile wide and have like 2 rows of seats on either side or something. That would be very, very cool. I might even be able to cram that into the same width as this, but we'll see. There's a lot of work to be done. I've got to work more on some of the detailing. I've got to do some greebling of these modules. I've got to do like paint designs. Yeah, there's still a ton to do. And then obviously I've got to like put them together, build them. Yeah. Well, if you want to see all that, guess what? Yes, you're going to have to come back for the next episode. We're going to leave it there for now. I hope you've enjoyed this. I've had an absolute ball building this. So thanks for being here. Thanks for watching. God, it's good to be back. Come on, picture. Say goodbye.
Bye, guys.
We'll catch you for the next one. Peace out.